This is Show Up as a Leader, a show from People Forward Network, helping you maximize your positive impact on the world by becoming your best, fully authentic self.
Hey everyone, it's Rosie. I'm super excited to have my friend Chris Johnson bring her new series, The Leadership Pause, to the show. In this series, Chris is going to unpack what it means to be fully human and access the best of who we are as leaders. And each episode is going to include stories, what she refers to as nerd science, which just is music to my ears. And she will always give a deliberate practice that we can try on at the end and apply so that we can show up as more embodied learners and leaders in our life. Take a listen.
Leadership and energy bodies. It's likely that Peter Drucker, renowned management consultant, said it best when he said, quote, "Your first and foremost job as a leader is to take charge of your own energy and then help to orchestrate the energy of those around you." End quote. Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Johnson, author of The Leadership Pause, an executive leadership coach, psychologist, and owner of Q4 Consulting, a consulting firm dedicated to cultivating strong leaders, healthy workplaces, and engaged, thriving communities. In an earlier podcast episode, I acknowledged that cumulative, unaddressed stress zaps our life energy. That, like our phones today, if our inner battery loses juice, it's because we've not recharged or resourced ourselves adequately. In episode 2, I mentioned the importance for all of us to practice catching myself being myself. That is, to notice patterns of where I'm not fully present or caught up in all the busyness to such a degree that I don't even notice the energetic toll it takes, perhaps until much later. And, as Drucker mentions, challenges us even, it is our first and foremost job to take charge of our own energy and to help orchestrate the energies of others on our team, in our organizations, or anywhere that we're called to lead. So now that you've been practicing catching yourself being yourself, now it's time to expand your awareness and dial into this notion of energy, or what some call energy management. But what does that actually mean for you, where you live and work? Let me tell you a few quick stories, then ask you for yours. Consider Helena Helmerson. She stepped down as CEO of H&M, the fast fashion giant, bringing a big surprise change to leadership to one of the world's largest fashion retailers. She said, "I don't have the energy to continue." She follows on the heels just last year of Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who resigned from office in 2023. She said, "I know what this job takes, and I know that I no longer have enough in the tank to do it justice. It is that simple. We need a fresh set of shoulders for that challenge." Closer to home, recently a coaching client of mine, a C-suite healthcare executive, she said it this way: "My colleagues and peers feel that life isn't stable. I'm at the end of my rope, Chris. I'm at capacity." These are 3 highly accomplished and sought-after leaders today, and they too struggle with the demands of their roles at work and the press it puts on their energy needs. So, how's your energy lately? How do you describe it? What's the story you tell yourself about your energy? How does that impact your action as a leader? Is your energy high or low? Fast or slow? Faint or glaring? There are as many ways to speak about energy as there are people, though commonly we talk about energy as the amount of vigor, vitality, and zest that we have, or that quantity of get up and go. Over 100 years ago, Albert Einstein addressed the scientific community of his day. His claim? He passionately presented the idea that everything we take in with our 5 senses, called exteroception, everything we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, it's all energy. We are not solid, dense matter after all. In fact, we're not what we appear to be. Instead, We are dynamic movement. Every cell in our bodies a world of its own, with one's energetic resonating directly related to their own level of consciousness. Let me say that again. We are dynamic movement. Every cell in our body is a world of its own, with one's energetic resonating directly related to their own level of consciousness. What's your level of consciousness? The more conscious a person is, the closer to their potential that person lives, and the more positive energy he or she has available for use, said Bruce Schneider. Our energy rises to a challenge. Too little challenge, and we effectively rust out, never reaching our full potential or doing that thing we always wanted to do. But too much energy, rising typically in the form of stress, and we can literally burn out. In other words, the energetic sweet spot of arousal lies somewhere in the middle. In The Power of Full Engagement, authors Jim Loehr and Tony Schwartz point out that optimal energy and sustainable performance, quote, requires cultivating a dynamic balance between the expenditure of energy, stress, and the renewal of energy, recovery. In other words, the consistent, vibrant flow of energy is a result of challenging, then renewing our energies. Not typically what occurs when you get triggered into reacting, then driving hard at breakneck speed. It's in the dynamic interplay that energetic resilience is cultivated. First, then, life speaks to us very directly through sensation. Remember those 5 senses? Whether we pause to notice it or not. We instinctively experience our life as a reflection of our energy. In China, they call it qi. In Japan, it's called ki. Prana is the Sanskrit name for it, while the French call it élan vital, the vital force, that impulse of life eminent in all organisms. It's the literal pulse of life living through you, as close as your breath. By tuning into your breath and the sensations within your body, you'll begin to notice a whole new world of experience that opens up to you. In fact, your sensing experiences are inseparable from your everyday experience of being live and simply being yourself. Pausing to direct your attention to sensation and movement will allow you to drop down out of your head and come into direct contact with the energetic currents of your own body. Living here, in your body, translates to being present in your life in the very moment that it's unfolding. So, it's safe to say then that we are energy bodies, pulsing with life force, blood coursing through our veins, breath and oxygen moving through our lungs and distributed throughout our bodies. That may sound woo-woo, yet it's profound in its implications. First, it acknowledges that we live within a vessel that's teeming with life and exquisitely responsive to the environment around us. You know this instinctively. For example, when you notice you're chilly, you may find yourself rubbing your hands together to stay warm. The vigorous rubbing stimulates energy in the form of warmth. If you've been driving and had someone suddenly swerve toward your lane, you know the experience of being jolted to attention, followed by rushing energy or tingling, and maybe some swearing under your breath. The laws of physics tell us that energy is neither created nor destroyed, but only transferred and transformed. Put a pin in that for a moment because I'll come back to that in a bit. Second, it points to the tremendous interplay of biological and chemical systems within our bodies that are constantly regulating the impact of our surroundings and environment on our physical bodies. We measure energy by way of blood pressure, variable heart rates, fMRIs, and pulmonary output studies. Our biological systems work in tandem to maintain a stable homeostatic state. Body temperature typically hovers around 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Intricacies of the respiratory system keep us breathing without engaging our conscious thought. And the digestive apparatus processes essential nutrients to fuel the enterprise of living while eliminating unnecessary waste. When all systems are on, life flows smoothly, and we may not even notice our energy levels much at all. That's because of neuroplasticity, the feature whereby our bodies respond, shift, and learn from our interactions with the world around us. Our limbic system, particularly in the amygdala, which is deep inside the midbrain, fast regulates our emotions, while our cognitive system keeps us analyzing patterns, making decisions, and executing on them. It's our ability for this kind of self-organization that regulates the flow of energy and information. If you register thirst, you get a drink of water. If you're cold, you find a coat or a wrap to put on. Said another way, and this is a fine point, we organize ourselves around what's most coherent in our biology. Self-organization is an emergent property of complex systems, of which we are one. We're very complex systems. And as Dr. Dan Siegel writes, every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What kind of results am I getting? Over time, our personal and interconnected system of energies first differentiates the various energies and then connects the dots to create the most flexible, adaptive, and optimal functioning, aligning your life energy in the radical heart of who you are. Dr. Siegel speaks of the rhythms of energy this way. We become balanced and coordinated in life when we create integration, allowing for the flow of energies between chaos and rigidity, end quote, that results in our flourishing and thriving. Quantum physics explains that our thoughts, emotions, feelings, and sensations are all vibrating energies that come together with other people's energies at the same frequency, in resonance, and then we form what we call and perceive as reality. Kind of like if you're singing in a choir with your strong tenor voice distinct and vibrating beautifully, yet it's in coming together with others' vibrating voices, the alto, bass, and soprano, that you can create the beautiful harmony of Handel's Messiah. So back to that pin. Remember, the law of physics tells us that energy is neither created nor destroyed, but only transferred and transformed. So if everything is vibrating energy of one form or another, think of the vast implications for resonance. Think work, your family. When energies meet one another, if one can use what the other person provides, energy is transferred. Resonance arises as energy is transformed. We can feel each other. Resonance, then, is how energy changes form. And since everything is a form of energy, it's how change happens. It's universal. So when we want change in life, at home, at work, we have to ask ourselves, and here's the question for you, how does your energy resonate or not with those around you? Is it the energy you hope for that can bring about transformational change? Or is your energy jammed, overtaxed, spent, and acting as a real impediment to change? I promised always to share a practice with you, so here it is this month. The practice. Find a comfortable place to sit, maybe move your shoulders, sit up nice and tall, and pause for a moment, closing your eyes. Tune into your breath where it's most vibrant for you, resonating. That could be at your nose, your mouth, your chest, your belly. And pick up the breath and following it through a full cycle of inhalation and exhalation. And when you're ready, breathe in a nice full breath and hold it then at the top of the in-breath for a brief 3 count. Then allow a long, slow, and complete exhalation out through your nose, a beat or 2 longer than your inhalation. Be fully present with your breath, allowing breath to simply happen. Then, drawing on your practice from session 2 of catching yourself being yourself, for this month, consider the 4 areas where we expend our energies and pick one to focus on this month. Mental. Focus narrow or openly. Do one thing at 100%. Do one thing at designated times. Next, physical. Work for 90 minutes and take a break. Consider getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Mind your nutrition without sugar and get some movement in. Next, emotional. Notice the quality of your energy. About 70% of our energy is emotional, by the way. And ask yourself, when am I at my best? And name it. Lastly, spiritually. Reflect on your purpose each day and ponder the connection of all of life with the rest of life. And when you do, notice the impact on your energy. My invitation to you this month is to take on this practice, be curious, learn and apply that learning in your leadership. Of course, I'm interested to know what opens up for you as you take yourself on in this way. And as you can imagine, we're just scratching the surface. You can check out the show notes that takes you to my website, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. There's so much more to this topic, and I cover a lot of it in my book, The Leadership Pause, that you can find over on Amazon or your favorite bookseller. And just this month, you can head on over to my website, q4-consulting.com/leadership advantage quiz, to get a better feel for how your energy is showing up in your leadership. Take the quiz, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. As we sign off today, remember that when we're attuned to the moment at hand, present to it whatever it holds, we can make our best contributions. This is power.
I'm Rosie Ward, and this is Show Up as a Leader. To learn more, head over to peopleforwardnetwork.com and, of course, hit that follow button.